Hi, I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping. Welcome to my craft corner. Today I have a fabulous project to share with you that is not a card. Instead, I'm going to be making some fun tags that you could use for gift wrap, or I'm going to turn them into refrigerator magnets using some super embossing. I really love this stamping technique and I can't wait to share it with you. Before I get started though, if you have any questions about paper crafting, rubber stamping, card making, or Stampin' Up, I would love to help you. Go ahead and leave me a comment below or send me an email and let me know how I can help you out. In the description to this video, you are going to find lots of links. There's a link to my website with all of the photos from today's samples as well as the supply lists. There is also a link to come over and hang out in my Facebook group. This is where lots of fun happens. I share lots of samples and have a weekly mystery stamping event happen over there too. So definitely click that link and come over and join me. You can also click the link to subscribe to my newsletter. This is the best way to keep in touch with me and know what is happening with Onigo Stamping. If you like today's video, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Okay, Onigo, let's get stamping. Let's start by looking at the supplies for today's video. I'm going to be using the artistically inked stamp set, and I've been using this quite a bit lately. I just love the way that it looks like alcohol ink. And yeah, so I've been using it a lot with the designer series paper that matches it, which is absolutely gorgeous. But today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So still with that stamp set. And then I pulled out the Beauty of Friendship stamp set because I was looking for some sentiments that were a little bit more inspirational, things that weren't necessarily tied to just a card or just, you know, wishing something to somebody on a certain occasion. So I pulled this out because I really liked some of the different greetings in there. Then of course we're going to be using the tailor-made tags dies and the artistic dies that match the artistically inked stamp set so we can cut those images out. All right, let's talk about paper. So today for paper, I'm going to be using the soft, or I should say the subtles. I always want to say soft subtles. It used to be soft subtles. Now it's just subtles. It's been that way for years, but I still say soft subtles. I'm using the Subtles Designer Series paper. These are 6x6 sheets, and there's two different designs, double-sided designs, so you can see the designs here. You flip them over, and those are nice too. And you get two sets of these. So this is what they look like. I'm just gonna show you those. I only have one in here, so this is half a pack that I have right here in front of me. So I'm using that. Now, to pick my colors, if you came to my 2021-2022 annual catalog kickoff event, then you got in the mail this fun color inventory bookmark. The top part on both sides has where you can inventory all of your ink pads, refills, markers, and blends. And then on the bottom, there are some color combinations. On this side, we have the 2020 to 2022 in color combinations. And then on the back, there's the 2021-2023 in color combinations. So that's what I'm doing today. I decided, you know, I want to try to pull out these color combinations and try something a little bit different. So I have made projects with each of these color combinations. I'm going to show them to you at the end of this video. You can also check them out on my website. But for the project I'm going to make right now, I decided to start with a soft succulent, okay? Now I know I want to make some flowers, so I wanted something with soft succulent that would work with flowers. Maybe the So Saffron, but I was worried that it was going to be a little bit too light. So I decided to try this top one, soft succulent, mint macaron, and rich raspberry. So we'll see how this comes out. I haven't actually pre-made this project, so I'm not sure how these colors are going to look, but I'm going to take Stampin' Up's word for it, and we're going to try them out together. Today I'm going to be making some tags. And I'll show you, we can just leave them as tags, but I am actually going to step it up just a little bit and kind of make them into refrigerator magnets. So always something fun and different to do. I'm starting with a piece of, this is like the backing cardboard that comes with your designer series papers. I have a bunch of these. So I'm just grabbing one of them. Usually I leave them in my pack of designer series paper, but once the pack is all used up, I sometimes end up with extra. So I'm just pulling one of these out, and I'm cutting off a strip that is 2 1/4 inches. All right. I like this because it does give it a little bit of firmness. It's also white. There's no design on it. So it's just nice thing to start with. I'm having trouble speaking already. That's like every video, isn't it? Here is a piece of the Mint Macaron Designer Series paper. I'm going to go with the checks on this one. And I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive and glue this to this piece of cardboard. So put this right on here. And we're just covering the whole thing up. Then what I want to do is I'm going to cut this out with one of the tailor-made tags. Now, if you haven't seen the tailor-made tags, you're going to love these. These are fabulous. I've been using them for so many projects lately, and they're just tags. They're just dies with tags. They have stitching on the inside. There's 4 different sizes in 2 different designs, and they have some reinforcements. I'm not going to use the reinforcements today. I am just going to stick with the tags. I'm going to use this one right here. And I'm going to grab my magnetic platform and my cutting plate and just put this right on top, and I'm just going to cut this out. I cut this out, and now we have the base for the tag that I'm going to make. So I'll just pull that out, and you can see a nice tag here. I'm just going to put all this stuff aside. I do want to pop out this little circle here. There we go. Isn't that pretty? I just love the way those tags look. All right, now I want to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to grab, I have a bunch of scraps here. I'm going to try to use up some scraps. I always like to use the scraps, right? This one. All right, let's do some stamping. I'm going to stamp some leaves. I'm going to stamp the leaves in Soft Succulent. And this is where we're going to find out if this is going to work, if we can put this Soft Succulent. You know what? I think this is going to be too juicy. Let's look. Ooh, that is super, super juicy. So the artistically inked stamps are what is known as a distinctive stamp, and that means that they have lots and lots of detail on them. Now, unfortunately, it does mean that if your ink pad is super juicy, they're going to get all splotchy like this instead of giving you all that really nice detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm just taking a plastic spoon. I just keep this in my craft room, and I'm just going to push all this ink to one side. And don't worry, when you close your ink pad, it will all go back to the center. It will come into one. Again, it won't stay off to the side like that. And I'll just ink this up again. We'll try again, see what the difference looks like. So there you can see how much more detailed this is than this splotchy one. This is a lot darker, but it's very, very splotchy. So I'm going to stamp a couple more of these. There we go. Interesting look. All right. There we go. That should be enough. And then I want to stamp a couple flowers. Let's put that away and see if my rich raspberry ink pad is too juicy too. So here's my rich raspberry. I'm going to do the flowers in rich raspberry. Ooh, that looks like not dark enough. Let me try a little bit more. Okay, so I was having trouble. I had some little like splotches on my stamp when I stamped it. And I think what happened is that I think I had some stray bits of embossing powder stuck on my stamp, and they were kind of creating those dots. So I cleaned the stamp up really well, and they seem to be gone now. So hopefully that is the case. Just going to ink this up again. See if oh, there we go. That's beautiful. I'll just stamp a couple of these. I always like to see, which image do I like the best, right? Like, let's just keep stamping this and see what we get. There we go. Well, that's pretty. So I think this one might be actually over inked. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell with these distinctive stamps. That is pretty. All right, let's go with those two. And put this rich raspberry away, and now we'll cut these out with the artistic dies. Just gonna grab my artistic dies. We're not gonna be using these gorgeous detail dies today. I'm just using the ones that cut out the flower and the leaves. I'll grab my magnetic platform and my cutting plate again. I cut out all my pieces, and now we're ready to move on to the next step before, start thinking about assembly here. So I think what I want to do, we'll just kind of start layering this stuff in. I always like to, try it out. What is it going to look like before I get started? So I'm going to let it go ahead and hang off the edges just a little bit. I want to see how, okay, so I can put this stamp image right up in here. I'm going to put this sentiment up towards the top. And it says, I believe in you. And I'm just using StazOn to do this because it's nice and dark and black. We'll try to get this straight. Now it is going to want to stick, so I'm just pulling. Oh, I didn't quite get it inked well enough. I'm going to see if I can re-ink it or if I'm going to have to start over. Should use my my Stamparatus for this. Ooh, I did it. Look at that. Yay! All right, so that's going to say, I believe in you. And then we're just going to start layering things on here. And I'm only going to put one flower on. I'm going to save the other flower to put on after I do the next step. Of course, we're going to use some dimensionals on this and give it a nice pop. So I want to see what it's going to look like. I'm constantly doing this. Whenever I am making a project, I am constantly pulling things off and setting them back on, seeing what it looks like, futzing with stuff until I get it just to what I want. And then, of course, even after I do all that, then I put it together, and it doesn't end up being exactly what I had laid out at some point. So, but that's okay. It at least gives me an idea of where I want to put things. And where I want to put my adhesive too, because I know the leaves are kind of going to hang off the edges. So, all right, there we go. I'm going to stop right there. Now this is eventually going to go on with a dimensional right there, and I could put that on right there, and I could just use this just like it is as a tag. But I want to turn this into a magnet that I can use in my refrigerator. So I want to give it, some protection. I want to kind of protect all those inky images. So I'm going to do some embossing on here. I'm going to start with my Versamark ink pad, and then I have this giant thing of crystal clear embossing powder. Our clear embossing powder, they no longer sell giant tubs of it. They just sell little ones of it, but you can get like a plastic container and dump them in there and use it like a giant tub. So here's my, of course, already getting the embossing powder everywhere. I find no matter what I do, my surface ends up being all covered with embossing powder when I get done. So you can take a dryer sheet and run that over your desk when you get done, and that will help collect all of the extra bits of embossing powder because it is super fine. It will help you get them off your surface. So I'm just smushing that down into my Versamark pad and getting it all inky. And then I am just dipping this in my clear embossing powder. Now you might notice, I don't know how good the camera is, you might notice that I end up with a few glitters. This is not glitter embossing powder. I just at some point must have been using glitter and the embossing powder, and I ended up with a little bit of glitter in my embossing powder. So now whenever I use the clear, I get little stray bits of glitter, which is fine. So I'm just going to heat this with my heat tool. And I love the way this looks when it starts to get all nice and shiny. Now I'm going to do this again. I also want to grab this second piece, and I want to do the same thing with this one. So I'm just going to ink that up. I'm going to drop it in my embossing powder. Now to save my fingers a little bit of gack, I just have some tweezers. And we're just going to do this one again. And you're going to see as we start layering this embossing powder, it gets really thick and shiny and just nice and coated. Now your first layer, you can see that my flower rate started to run just a little bit. That's pretty normal. It does kind of, get wet with the ink, so it does run just a little bit, but I actually like the way it looks. I think it's really fun. All right, let's heat this again. And of course, some colors of ink are runnier than other colors. Reds tend to run. It's just like your laundry machine, right? Your red shirt tends to run on the other colors. So it's the same thing. The reds tend to run a little bit more than some of the other colors. We're just going to do that flower again. It's just so smooth and shiny. All right, I'm going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals. I think I need to take out, oops, those are minis. I need to take out a new sheet. So, grab some Stampin' Dimensionals out of here. Give our flower a little bit of time to cool off a little bit before I flipped it over. We're just going to put some dimensionals on the back. And then I'm going to layer this right over the top. And I'm going to add even more embossing powder to this. I like to add a little bit more. I feel like it helps it gel together. Just pushing this down into my Versamark ink pad. And then we'll come in here and dip it. Now we might try after this one. Once you get enough embossing powder on here, you actually don't even need to use the Versamark if you dip it fast when it's hot. So here we go. So let's try dipping this real quick. See what happens. There we go. See how that just sticks? It sticks to itself, and you get an even thicker layer that way. one last heat. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Woo! And I like the way those little bits of glitter are in there. They're kind of fun. I don't know if you can see them in the camera, but they're just little bits of glitter. Now I just want to add some ribbon to the top of this. I'm going to grab my soft succulent ribbon, and this is the open weave ribbon. Is that what it's called? Open weave ribbon. It comes in each of the 5 in colors, the 2021, 2023 in colors. And I'll just pop this through the top. And I'm just going to grab my scissors. Now this is still a little bit warm. If I weren't on camera, I think I'd probably let this sit for just a minute and cool down. It's not too hot to touch. It's just, I feel like I'm going to get finger marks because if you touch it when it's still hot, when the embossing powder is still hot, you can get fingerprints in the embossing powder. I'm trying to decide. So I have the Baker's Twine Essentials pack, and I'm just trying to decide which of these colors I want to use on here. I think I'm just going to go with the Sahara Sand. I'm just going to cut myself a double strand of this. And then I'm going to tie this around the top. Now I do find this a little bit tricky. The ribbon likes to pop out, and actually when I was doing one of the samples, I had to like start tying it and then slide it back over the ribbon. Because it just doesn't want to, the first step, it just doesn't necessarily want to stay in place. And string so that the loops are different sizes. And then I'll just trim up all the edges. And get this gorgeous, super embossed tag. That would, you could just put this on a gift just like that. But I actually want to take this, I'm going to put some magnets on the back and use this as a refrigerator magnet. Let me show you a couple more tags that I have made. I can find them here. They got a little bit lost. So, and this is going back to these different color combinations. So I'm going to pull this back in. This is the soft succulent with mint macaron and rich raspberry. Then I'm going to grab the evening evergreen one, and this has blackberry bliss and Sahara Sand. So here is the blackberry bliss and Sahara Sand with the evening evergreen. And then the pale papaya one, I have pale papaya, old olive, and balmy blue. So this one I did facing the other direction. Isn't that pretty? Now this one I used the Europe Peach Designer Series paper. One thing I have noticed was really nice about the solid color Designer Series paper is because it's the same color on both sides, so you don't get it bleeding through. Whereas this one, you can start to see up here towards the top, the back design has started to come through a little bit. Oh, I forgot to add little dots on this one. I don't know. What do you think? Do you like it with the dots or without the dots? You could also come in and add some little beads or something. You could, melt the embossing powder and then really just stick the beads right in there, and it will help stick them down. Let me show you a couple more color combinations, and these are in cards. Of course, you're going to see the photos to these are all over on my website, and there's a link in the description to this video. So the next one I have is Polished Pink with Mango Melody and Mossy Meadow. Now, doesn't that sound like an odd combination? But here it is. The Polished Pink with the Mango Melody and the Mossy Meadow. That's kind of fun. And then I have that same card design, but this time I grabbed the Fresh Freesia, Gorgeous Grape, and Granny Apple Green. So here's another one. Isn't that pretty? I like this one. This makes a really bright, fun color combination. So just, fun with these different color combinations. It's really fun to pull in things that you think that is not going to work and see how they come together. So there's all my samples for today. And of course, you can see the pictures on my website. Thank you so much for joining me today. Weren't those fabulous little tags? And I love the color combinations with those in colors. They're fabulous to try something different. And I really love doing that super embossing that I did. All right, if you liked today's video, make sure that you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and then come on back and see me for more tips, techniques, and inspiration. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.